Do all plus size people think the same? From Spectrum. First and foremost, I kind of wish, I don't know, man. I know we're trying to be sensitive, but like just the term plus size, it's like, listen, overweight works perfectly well. Fat people works fine too. Like, I'm fat, right? Now, here's my perspective on being overweight. I think that being overweight is probably maybe the only form of oppression in the world that you can easily change. Now, I understand that there's issues here, like food can become very addictive. We do have an issue with like the FDA not giving a shit about people, like fast food corporations literally poisoning their food, so that it doesn't expire and that it's incredibly unhealthy. And there's really not enough legislation on controlling fast food industries and the way that they basically poison their food. I understand that, and I understand food can be addictive, but like also you can lose weight. And this mentality that like you're oppressed and that you can't lose weight is silly. It's a lack of willpower that I clearly have as well. I'm not going to say that I don't have this lack of willpower. But if you push this off onto somebody else, and that means that you're pushing off your control onto somebody else. Oh, it's society's fault. Okay, that means you can't control it in your own head, which means you're never going to lose weight. Okay? And to everybody who keeps saying, well, if there are medical conditions that make it impossible to lose weight, two things. One, that is objectively impossible. There's no medical condition that makes it impossible to lose weight. Even like PCOS, none of this makes it impossible. It makes it tougher, doesn't make it impossible. Okay? That's number one. Number two, most people don't have those things that are fat. So, you don't have that excuse. It's an outlier. Most people don't have these difficulties losing weight. Most people are just black willpower. So let's watch this. It's called Do All Plus Size People Think the Same?
There is nothing that enrages me more than fat models.
I don't like the celebration of morbid obesity.
And I agree with that too. There's something in society. So when we look at these things, it's like we need to accept fat people. Like I don't know why I air quoted it. We need to accept fat people. Okay? But that doesn't mean that we need to normalize it. We could be like, hey, listen, you shouldn't ridicule somebody that's fat for being fat. But also, we shouldn't be celebrating like body positivity, because none of these this is the problem with it. It's not even that we do body positivity. It's that nobody who promotes body positivity promotes it the right way. Nobody says, hey, listen, you can be attractive and overweight, but you're going to be unhealthy if you eat incorrectly. So you want to be overweight. That's perfectly fine. Try to eat healthier. Now, I don't know. It's rather difficult to be overweight and healthy, but the reason people are overweight is usually because they eat foods that aren't nutritionally dense. And so they eat a lot of them because they don't fill up their stomach, because there's no nutrients in a fucking McDonald's hamburger. You understand? And so, like, let's advocate for body positivity in the way of, like, hey, it's okay to be fat, but also it's going to stress your body out, and maybe you should eat better.
You're okay in the skin that you're in.
The stress is everything. Just don't sit there getting fatter. Do something about it.
I am fat.
The fact that I have rolls on my belly doesn't make me any less of a human being.
Well, technically, it makes you more of a human being. Am I right? No, I mean, not to be insensitive, but it would make you more of a human being. And like, I know that this is going deep. We are having very real and serious conversations about things like Medicare for all. If you want to subsidize people's health care, then we have to have a conversation about you making active choices to be overweight and unhealthy, stressing out the system. So why should somebody who's physically fit have to pay for my poor eating choices? Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, we need to have these conversations, because one of the reasons healthcare is so expensive is because we're really fat. It's a factor. Yeah, there are other things too. Overpriced, like medication. Doctors are paid a lot because their schooling is really like long and expensive. And there's like a whole thing we can go through, like a whole string of this, right? But we're really fat. Now, you could probably offset that by implementing some kind of a health tax on unhealthy foods. But then fat people are going to cry that society is oppressing them. But I don't think it would be a bad thing to tax sugar and unhealthy foods, honestly, especially if we're going to go in this direction of subsidizing people's really bad health and like food choices. Because you're quite literally asking people to get involved in your health once you decide to implement like universal health care. I'm not. Where's the disagree line? Which way is disagree? Well, we'll find out. Oh, okay.
The reason I am here
Like, you could call somebody fat with some stank on it, but even then, I don't care.
is because I feel like in the past, fat has been such like a derogatory term, and like we've been so like ridiculed for the way we look. It's almost like I want to take that word back and make it a positive thing. Like, oh, someone called me fat. So negative. And
For me, it just means nothing. Oh, you call me fat? Okay. Like, I just don't... Like, if you call me fat, you're trying to disrespect me. I'm just not going to associate myself with you anymore. You're a loser.
like, yes, I am.
Like, if you call it to me in, like, a negative way, you know?
You know what I mean?
Like, when my doctor's like, hey, they say Papa Gut. I almost called it my own name. You're fat. I'm like, yeah, it's true. They're not being disrespectful. It's just their job.
And just, like, change the way we think of it.
A lot of words that should offend me don't. I think it's because I'm just kind of like, I don't even need the word to know your intention.
Exactly.
So I know your intention, and if you're using it to like hurt me, I don't care what word you use. I care that you wanted to hurt me. I just don't look at like a word like that as being like...
You don't want to give it power.
No.
There's a lot of interesting attire choices in here. I'm just saying. I don't think that this guy looks bad. He doesn't look too bad. He actually pulls it off really well. It's just very interesting choices of clothing that these people are wearing.
I don't want to give it weight.
Yeah.
That was funny. Everybody should be literally tackling through the wall. It's a choice. It totally is. This is why these people aren't losing weight. The reason that they're not losing weight is because they think it's not a choice. And that's the problem. Is because if you can say that it's not your fault, then you have no mental control over it. And that's one of the reasons why we have a very obese society. It's a choice. It might be a tough choice. It might be tough to lose weight, but it's still your choice.
I'm only standing on this one and not strongly disagree because some people do like try to be plus size. Like there's like lots of people in the gay community that are called like eaters and feeders. So people do try to be bigger, but I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a choice. So
It
that's
is
the
a
reason
choice.
I'm not strongly disagree.
You hit the woman head. Yes. I feel that.
I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. Everyone was so happy for me. I hated myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated why I did, why
Yeah,
I
he did literally say
exercised
those
and
things,
things
yeah.
like that. And so I made the conscious decision of my parents are not going to be supportive, or maybe they won't like it. My community, the Korean community, is going to be really disappointed that there's a fat Korean walking around the world. But it was a choice for me to say, well, I don't want to work out 8 hours a day every day and hate what I look like to be skinnier. So I'm going to let myself eat more than a quarter cup of white rice today.
I was on board until it was like, hey, listen, so what I thought she was saying was, hey, I lost weight. And like, I didn't like myself. Okay, that's totally fine. But like this idea that you have to work out for 8 hours a day, you can go for a 30-minute or 20-minute walk every day, drink water instead of soda, and eat vegetables, and you're going to get fuller faster, which is going to make you want to eat less food because you're staying hydrated and you're eating nutritionally dense foods. Right? This isn't like, it's not like you choose between sitting on your ass all day or working out 8 hours a day. It's literally just choosing between whether you should or shouldn't have that bag of chips right now.
I disagree because I believe in society, especially in America, we have this idea that, oh yeah, all fat people ate themselves that way.
Yes,
that
objectively.
They just sit at home and they're lazy and
Probably,
they don't do anything,
yeah.
and they ate themselves that way.
Yeah.
But they
They're
don't
eating more than they're burning. See, yeah.
take into account people who have a disease. They
No.
don't take into account people who
No disease makes it impossible to lose weight.
work out, and their body is just built that way. So they
Nobody's body is built an extra 150 pounds. Listen, if you want to be overweight, and especially if you do it in a healthy, you can be overweight and be healthy. You can overeat like lean proteins and whatnot. That's totally fine. But let's not pretend that like 99.9999999% of people, let's not pretend that they're not eating like shit to get fat, because they are. I'm one of them.
There are all of these other factors that the average person who's judging people don't take into account, and they just look at someone and they say, oh, you're fat and you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, but that's what it is. See, that's the thing. This is a perfect example. If you're somebody who looks somebody that's like, oh, you're fat, you're not doing anything about it, you're right, but just like keep it to yourself. That's it. That's what body positivity is about. Just keep it to yourself. You know what I mean? That's it. That's literally it.
But I also want to throw out there, like, it is possible that people have eaten themselves to that point, but then you look at, like, why did that happen? Like, there's trauma, there's rough coping mechanisms.
Okay.
There's so many different things that can lead to somebody
Sure.
resorting to that and then eating themselves into this situation.
Again, I stress eat as well. It's just not an excuse. I don't know.
Because I know that's what happened to me. I didn't choose it, but it happened.
I've been criticized for my size.
Yeah, I have been. It's so funny. I actually have a half sister. So her name is, I guess I shouldn't say it. Her name is Leanne. I was 14 when I met her, and she was 12. And we had met through my aunt. This is actually a very interesting story. So my aunt used to work at a car wash, and then somebody with the last name of my biological, we'll call my sperm donor, I think father is too generous of a term, walked in, and my aunt was like, oh, this is your last name. Do you know this person, the name of my father? And she's like, yeah, that was my husband, because of course he divorced her as well because he's a scumfuck. So we ended up meeting up, and like we would hang out like once a month. It would be myself, her, and both of our moms. We walked in, and she's actually like a model. She was like a pageant winner. And what was very interesting is that one of the first times we met, I remember it was on Thanksgiving, we walked in, and her mom said to me, I'm a 14-year-old boy, her mom is an adult, she says, oh, you know, you have a really nice face, you would look better if you lost weight. And it didn't actually personally bother me because I never gave a shit, but that's just like the weirdest thing to say to a kid. Like, what a shitty thing to say, no? Like, what an... Now, looking back on it, it's a great, funny story. But it's like, what the audacity? So, yeah, based. What was the question? Oh, have you been ridiculed for being fat? Yeah.
Come on, everyone. When I first went back to Korea, which is like the country of my parents, and like it was amazing for me, and I was like, wow, I look like everyone else, right? Like, this is my home country. This is supposed to be my place. It's not my place because I'm fat. And so walking down the street, people are like, do you know how easy it is for you to get liposuction here? They won't even scar because they can do it pretty for an Asian person or whatever.
Wow.
I had family.
Hey, I'm going to go to Asia or Korea. In Asia, I guess.
Said, you know what, we'll fix your ears, we'll fix your nose, we'll fix your eyes, your lips, and all your fat. And that is just, it's mind-boggling to me that you would even think to offer that or think that I dislike my body. And I think that's also the thing. The critique comes from this idea of, you must hate how you look, so let me help you.
I think everyone in this entire room has been criticized for their body. Like, it doesn't really matter what size you are. You could be the skinniest girl in the world, and you're gonna be called like a fat bitch. Like, if you think that this is like exempt from you because we're bigger,
I was on board. Like, yeah, people get criticized for like everything. We have a very brutal society, but then I don't think that anybody that's skinny is gonna get called a fat bitch.
different body types.
Like a
no,
skinny
We've
bitch?
all been shamed for our bodies.
People feel that they have the right to come up to you and impose their views onto you about your personal body. The fact that I have rolls on my belly and big thighs doesn't make me any less of a human being. My body is not.
I know I made the joke already, but like, yeah, it makes you a little bit more of a human being.
For you, I didn't ask you. That's it.
I want to lose weight. 3.
So like, yeah, probably you should want to be healthier, which is usually means you have to lose weight.
2, 1, go.
I think it's a little concerning that these people don't want to lose weight. I feel like they're saying that as a point of overconfidence. They're like, oh no, I don't need to lose weight because I'm beautiful how I am. And that's the issue with the body positivity movement. Is it's not saying it's okay to be fat, but you should actively advocate to get healthier. It makes you feel like you should remain fat. And there's a slew of problems with being obese. One of which for a woman is like a higher chance of your baby not even being born or coming out with like some kind of a disability, because being overweight isn't a good thing when you're having kids. Like there's a lot of problems associated with obesity that people don't understand. One of the first things you need to do to have a kid is really lose weight. You guys should be like, yeah, I want to lose weight. You don't have to want to lose 1,000,000 pounds. Well, you know what I mean. But like, yeah, here's what I would say. I'd say like, hey, I actually don't necessarily want to be skinny, right? I'm comfortable. I'm used to being fat, right? But I want to lose weight and be healthy. So like, I'm 350 pounds. If I can get down to like 300 pounds and be more muscular and eat healthier, and I don't have any of the conditions like diabetes that I have, I would be great off. But that nobody's talking about that.
The reason like I hesitated so much is because
and it's interesting because before they were asked like, do you what was the question? Fuck. They had asked a question that was, do you think that people have control over their weight? I think that was the question. And everybody was like, no, you don't. But then all these guys are saying they don't want to lose weight, which directly contradicts that statement. It's like, yeah, you guys are actively saying that you're going to maintain your obesity. So you're acknowledging that you can lose the weight, but you simply don't want to.
I will love the way I look no matter what. At the same time, like, if I like was to keep dancing and keep going to the gym and all this, and then I just like happened to lose weight, like I'd also be like, cool, I'll just love myself no matter what, is pretty much what I'm saying.
Oh, bye. See ya.
I want to be here because this is like the work that I do.
I have like a real question. Like, why are the two fat guys gay? Like, it's totally fine, but I feel like there's a lack of representation here. Like, these are a lot of very progressive minded individuals, it seems, which is fine. But like, I notice a trend from a lot of these videos where you don't put more conservative minded people in there. Like, I'm not saying that I should have been in there, but what I'm saying is that I probably should have been there. You know, there's nobody offering like a counterpoint. It's everybody that's kind of having like a very similar minded interpretation of weight, saying like, yeah, you know, this really does make me a victim. And it's like, well, where's the guy that's fat that's like, yeah, you know what, I understand that it's a struggle, but it's our choice, and that every single day that we push that choice off and say it's someone else's fault is another day that we're advocating for unhealthiness and obesity in our society.
I feel like doing this is gonna like I feel like being here, someone's gonna say something to me and be like, oh, like you aren't for body positivity, you aren't for fat activism, you aren't for liberation, but like that has nothing to do with anybody else besides me. I think like if I this and I'm not being honest with myself and saying like, you know what, sometimes I do think about losing weight, because I do, and like everyone does.
Because there's privileges when you're smaller, so it's like it's
Privileges?
natural to think I want to be smaller because there's more options for me if I'm smaller.
That's like diminishing the term privilege. Hey, there's privileges. No, there are disprivileges to being bigger. Like, for instance, you're so big you need to buy 2 plane tickets because you're pushing another person off of the plane. You're so large. This is something that I identify with. You're so large that you take up 2 seats and you need to pay for those 2 seats because you're actively removing somebody from the plane. That's just what's happening. That's not even an insult, right? Does it suck? Yeah. But the funny part is you're spending more money to be fat while also complaining about how you have to spend more money to do things like go on a fucking flight. You understand what I'm saying? You're oppressing yourself.
But I don't want to lose weight.
Skinny people get more privileges. 3, 2, 1, go.
Like, even if it's true that skinny people get more privileges, you're actively removing your own privilege from yourself.
Oh, wait. I went the wrong way. For me, since I am a dancer, it is the most annoying thing. Like, I go to auditions and I'm the only like plus size person there, and literally if you go to a concert and see an artist, you will like never see someone that looks like me dancing back up for like Chris Brown. All they care about is, you know, oh, sex sells, and, you know, plus size is sexy, which it is, obviously. But
I mean, maybe you're just. This is too mean. I mean, maybe they just don't think that you're an attractive overweight girl. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with that, but you know, I'm just saying. Also, like, yeah, that's the way it works, man. Like, they usually when they do backup dancers, they do people that like all just like look the same and can go through the movements the same. I would imagine being overweight makes it difficult for you to go through a complicated dance with the same stamina and energy that somebody that is less heavy.
They can't get that, out of their heads. That skinny is like the top tier of life.
So what kept you though from on the strongly agree?
I don't really know. I just felt like it was it's like a big choice.
The world is created with smaller bodies in mind. Like everything we experience, when you sit in a folding chair, when you go on an airplane, when you go to the movie theater.
Because the human body's not supposed to be this big. Of course, that's why we've created it in mind. It's also more expensive to do things for bigger people. Like, imagine that we made all seats on an airline like 3 inches wider. That removes the ability for other seats to exist or increases the size of the plane. It uses more resources. It also uses more fuel the fatter people are. If you have a plane with 100 people that weigh 150 pounds, versus a plane with 100 people that weigh 300 pounds, you've literally doubled like the cargo size of the plane, or the passenger weight of the plane rather, right? Which is going to use more fuel. Being fat uses more resources in our day-to-day lives, including food. You're literally eating for 2 and you're not pregnant. This is coming from personal experience. Right? It is a waste on society and its resources to be fat, even down to the amount of times that we fart. It's a meme, but like methane from cow farts is like also contributing to CO2 gases. Well, guess what? You're eating more cows, which means you're responsible for more cow farts because you're overweight. And then on top of that, because you're eating so much, you're probably farting more as well. So fat people are literally one of the causes of the environmental chaos that we're experiencing right now. It might sound like a meme, but it's really interesting because if we were all in line with a particular weight, the world would be greener. Honestly, it really would be. I'm just being honest with you. Because y'all didn't get fat eating fucking vegetables. Okay? I didn't.
The unfortunate truth is our population is not that small. So
no, it's not. It's getting fatter.
Smaller people have bigger privileges because the world is designed for them.
Because no, it's not that the world was designed for skinny people. It's that the world wasn't supposed to be designed for us. We're not supposed to be able to do this. My existence is a miracle of modern fucking medicine. I would have died like 200 or 300 years ago. Though I would have died existing the way that I'm eating now.
I had to quit a whole career because of my size. Like, I got my first degree in musical theater performance. I was ready to go to Broadway.
Okay.
And then through college, I gained 65 pounds.
You probably shouldn't have done that.
Not only did I watch my professors lose interest in me, but I watched casting people lose interest in me. And that's how I ended up in education, because I want to teach that that's not okay. You can play any role.
It's crazy how these progressive spaces are the ones that seem to shit on fat people the most. Hey, I was a dancer, or I was in theater and they didn't like that I was fat. Those are very heavily associated with more progressive ideologies and progressive people. And yet they're fat phobic. I wonder why. Well, probably because it's not like a good thing. It's just a little bit weird. You know, I understand Broadway is brutal. That's the way it works. You need to look right, sound right, dance right, act right. You need to have all these different qualifiers, and you gained a bunch of weight, which sucks. But like, if you really if you really wanted to be on Broadway, then you probably wouldn't have gained the weight. I would imagine that it wasn't just the fact that you were overweight that kept you off of Broadway, honestly.
Because that's what's baffling to me, is that we're in an age where in theater, we can suspend our disbelief that like animals can talk and things like that, but we can't accept that a plus size person could have somebody fall in love with them unless it's
That's
charismatic.
probably not
Like,
what
that's
it
the only
is.
story we get, and that's infuriating.
So then write another story with fat people? I don't know.
I love my body. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is one of those things where it's like, do you love your body, or are you telling yourself you love your body because you've decided you can't change it? And so now you're just gonna be like, I love it because you can't change. Is that one of the? I love myself and I enjoy my body. I don't hate my body, but there are you can, if you really loved yourself as a fat person, you wouldn't be killing yourself
I love my body
with food.
But it took a lot of time to get there. When I graduated,
You can love your body and want to improve it, right? You can buy a car, you can love a car and go, I think I'm gonna need a new tire. I don't know, I'm not a car guy, but you can love something and want to improve it.
College, and I was in like the biggest place that I've ever been. I was in a depression that I can't even like begin to explain about it. And then when I went off to grad school, I was like, something has to change. New city, new me. And so I got up every morning and I looked in the mirror and I was like, what can I like about myself today? And I learned how to just love every little part of me because it is mine. It belongs to me. And if I don't love it, who is going to?
So what keeps you there?
That it took so much time to get there.
In being plus size.
Did she just say that the reason that she wants to like stay overweight is because of the struggle that she's had while she's been overweight? Interesting.
I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's here for me, and it's got me this far. It's sabotaged me in a lot of ways, and that's its own journey. I just think for like a lot of like younger folks, like when I was your age or younger.
Did she say folks with an X, dude? Oh God, folks is already gender neutral. We got to add that X. I'm assuming, of course.
Either hate your body or love your body. I wasn't either way, and I was in the middle, and so you feel so stuck, and so you feel so alone. And it's this idea of it's okay if you don't love your body. It's okay if you're not obsessed with it. Just be kind to yourself, and that's good enough.
That's
if you can
fair.
be kind to your best friend, you can be kind to yourself, and so that is why I am here.
Every morning I'll wake up and I will like get out of bed and I'll look in the mirror and I will literally just like I'll rub like my chest, like rub my stomach, I'll like shake my ass, or like touch my thighs, and like I want to like shower myself with love every day, and that's like really important to me, to give myself the time to be like, oh, I appreciate my body for what it does for me. Like, do I want to change? Sometimes, sure. Will it? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But like at the end of the day, like,
Then why do you strongly agree?
I will love it regardless because it is like a home for me and my soul.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna twerk out?
Good humans, thanks for sticking around. So if you guys want to receive a mystery gift box from us in the next week.
No, I don't. Thank you. Okay, well, that was an interesting watch. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. All links are in the description. Also, check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me even more than you already do. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all.